So, hi all, this is Soumya Santosh, a CMA finalist. Welcome to our SSCMA classes, and as I promised, there was one remaining chapter of law and regulation related to banking sector. So today we are going to complete, not going to complete, going to start that chapter, which is the Banking Regulation Act 1949. So let's get started. Let's know little bit thing about this. Okay, so here I have written first sentence that the parliament has the power to legislate on banking through entry 45 और यूनियन लिस्ट. ठीक है, छोटा सा चीज़ बता देती हूँ इसके बारे में. There are in Constitution of India there are three bodies: constitutional body, first legislation, second executive, and third judicial. Okay, so the first body, the legislative makes the law, right, and second executive, which is government who is going to implement that law, and third comes judicial, which actually cross check and check whether the law made by the legislature is actually implemented rightly or not, or if not, so what should be the action taken. So here the parliament, which comes in first, legislation wala, ठीक है, legislative wala, ठीक है. So here the parliament have the power to legislate on banking through entry 45 of union list. This was a little bit description about it. Okay, so second is the Banking Regulation Act 1949 is central legislation that regulate all the banking firms in India, which is applicable to all banking sectors which is in India. The law was applicable only to banking company. This was actually earlier only specified or applicable to banking company, but later on it was amended. So yes, this was a little bit what I've written. Let's get into the introduction now. Okay, the Banking Regulation Act 1949 is legislation created to supervise all the commercial bank in India. This legislation was passed as we know the introduction 1949. Yes, so the legislation was passed in the year 1949. MCQ वाला बन सकता है बॉस, ठीक है, and was amended in the year of 1965. इतना तक ठीक है ठीक है ना. It was amended in the year of 1965. So what I told you, the law was only applicable to banking sector earlier, right, as per 1949, and it was amended, right, in 1965, and it was made the legislation applicable to the commercial sorry, and the cooperative bank in India, to all the commercial and cooperative bank in the India. इतनी बात समझ है ना. चलो ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. This legislation or act provide the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, with the power to give license to a bank and to take the license from a bank. RBI also become the shareholder of the bank and gain voting right due to the Banking Regulation Act 1949. And we know, as per law and regulation related to banking sector, we already covered the power of RBI. RBI वाला chapter था, remember ना? हाँ जी हाँ. So we already discussed what were the power of RBI है ना. So yes, in this chapter again we are going to read some of the power. Okay, so let's continue. RBI has every right to remove and appoint a board of director while supervising the operation of the bank. This act also has the right to make changes in banking policies and issue it to all the bank under RBI. As we know, RBI is the central bank of all the Indian banks and all. Okay, so this is very much clear to us. The Banking Regulation Act 1949 was introduced because banking business in India was very vague during 1940s, and the government was not able to supervise or regulate the banks based only on the Indian Companies Act 1913. Since the bank were able to run successfully and were not able to maintain the minimum amount of capital, the legislation was introduced. This also helped in decreasing the competition within the bank and helped them into maintaining the minimum capital amount. So this was a little bit introduction of the banking sectors and Banking Regulation Act 1949. Later on it was amended, right. Earlier it was only applicable to bank, ठीक है. Later on it was applicable to all the commercial and cooperative banks and all, ठीक है. And RBI has power. RBI is having the power to supervise, legislate and operate all of the banks all over the India. इतनी बात clear है ना. चलो, let's go for the next part. Now there is a difference between banking and banking company. As we know, what is bank, what bank does, accepting the deposit, ठीक है. So this is what the banking mean. ठीक है. Banking means accepting the deposit of money from public. Then what it does, it lend the money to the people, right? So yes, so first of all it accept the deposit from the money from the public for the purpose of lending and investing and repayable on demand or otherwise, and such money can be withdrawn by check, draft, other order or otherwise. We know this. ठीक है, बचपन से हम यही definition पढ़ते हैं, right? So what is now the difference between banking company? Is there any difference between banking and banking company? Yes. ठीक है, there's only one difference I'll tell you. A company which transact the business of banking in India, which is doing the transaction of business of banking in India, is what? A banking company. Again, let me say it again, let me rub this. A company which transacts, which is doing the business of banking in India, is what? The banking company. इतनी बात clear है ना? जी हाँ. So is there any example? Yes, for example HDFC Bank. Okay, so let's continue. And some company fulfills the condition of being a company as given under the Companies Act 1956. Okay, so this is the example. HDFC Bank Limited, also known as HDFC, is an Indian banking and financial services company, and its headquarter is in Mumbai. Okay, so this was the difference between banking and banking company. Banking, what we already know the definition, what the banking accept the deposit from the public and then it lend to the public, right, for investing and for other purposes. Okay, and what does the banking company do? It transact the business of banking. इतना ही है डिफरेंस और कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल याद रखना है HDFC वाला. ओके जी. सो दे आर सम ऑफ द बिजनेस विच अलाउ फॉर बैंकिंग कंपनी. दिस इज section 6. Okay, we know this, this is very basic. Okay, so yes, let's do it, let's go for it. Buying, lending of money with without securities, issuing traveling check, deposit, value, walls, buying and selling foreign exchange note, collecting and transmitting of money and securities, buying bought scripts and other securities on behalf of customer. I'm just reading out, okay, because we know these all function which are the business which can be done by the banking sectors, banking companies. Second, carrying on and transacting every kind of guarantee and indemnity business. Third, managing, selling and realizing any property which come in possession of bank in process of settlement of claim. What happens if any of settlement is not done by any of the customer, right? After once it created NPA, then after certain time period the bank can take actions, right? What are the major actions, right? Managing, selling and or giving it on lease and all. Okay, these are the actions taken by bank. Okay, so next, undertaking and executing of trust, other work which are incidental or advancement of main purpose of the company or any other form of the business defined by the central government in its notification. Some have written agent for any of the government, they are going to act as agent for government or the local authorities, or it may affect, insure, give guarantees. We know this because we already covered this guarantee wala point earlier, right? So may affect, insure, guarantee, underwrite, participate in managing or carrying out of any issue of loan or any other securities made by whom? Made by state, local body, company, corporation or the association. Okay, it may carry on or transact every kind of guarantee or indemnity business. This is already covered. It may manage, sell and realize any property. Definitely this is covered, right? May acquire, hold or deal with any property or any right, title in interest therein with the form, security or any other loan or advance sanctioned. Okay, some of the other business are establishing and supporting or aiding in the establishment and support of associations, institution, funds, trust and conveyance calculated to benefit employee or ex-employee of the company or the dependents or connections of such person, granting pension, allowance and making payment toward the insurance, subscribing to or guaranteeing money for charity or benevolent object or for any exhibition or for any public, general or useful object. So in short, let me say it, ठीक है, let me say it, कि they are establishing and giving, supporting or aiding facility. They are giving a facility, right, which is related to establishing and supporting. Okay, establishing and supporting, which means helping. Okay, and helping to these people, है ना, these people. Okay, so yes, next wala point, let's go to the next wala point. The acquisition, construction, maintenance and alteration of any building or work necessary or convenient for the purpose of the company. Then selling, improving, managing, developing, exchanging, leasing, mortgage, disposing or turning into account of, otherwise dealing with all of the part of property and right of the company. Okay, so these are the main actually things which the banking company can do. Okay, and acquiring and undertaking the whole or part of business of any person or a company when such business in nature enumerated or described in subsection. And last, doing all such other things as are incidental or conducive to promotion or advancement of the business of the company. ठीक है, इसको reading लगा लेना, that's it. ठीक है, but there are something which is prohibited by the banking company. Okay, so the prohibition on trading, section 8 says that there are some of things which cannot be done by the banking company, and they are: a banking company cannot enter directly or indirectly deals in buying or selling or barter of goods. Okay, so have you ever seen any of the banking companies doing this? I mean, either they are going to buy any goods directly or indirectly. No, they cannot. Okay, so this is prohibition on their trading as per section 8. Let's go for section 9, disposal of non-banking asset. So here the bank cannot hold any property for more than 7 years for the purpose of settlement of debt or obligation. Okay, but in some cases it could be extended. Okay, what are they saying about holding a property? Holding a property for what? Let me say it. This section 9 says disposal of non-banking asset. Okay, the bank cannot hold any property for more than 7 years. Okay, for the purpose of settlement of the debt or obligations. Okay, so if they are holding for more than that, then actions are taken against the banking company. But in some cases the extension is granted. Okay, extension is granted for 5 further years, and it is granted by whom? Central Bank of India. कौन है भैया? RBI है ना? हाँ जी बिल्कुल ठीक है. So such time limit can be increased by RBI for another 5 years. But this is only going to be possible if the banking company is using that property for itself. Right? If it is using for like leasing or like selling or something else, they cannot do it. First of all, okay. So first of all, what I said in section 9, they have to dispose of non-banking asset within 7 years, but it could be extended for further 5 years, and it is going to be extended by whom? RBI. Okay, but it should be used for specifically its use. Okay, it should be used by itself, not by any other organization or institutional or trust or any other thing. ठीक है, इतना क्लियर है जी? हाँ जी. Let's go for section 10. Employment of managing agent is prohibited and certain type of employment are restricted. So banking company they cannot go for some of, as I told you, they cannot go for trading, they cannot go for buying, selling of goods by directly or indirectly. So there are some of other thing which cannot be done by the banking company, and they shall have a managing the banking company shall not. Okay, this is the point, this is the line, we have to read this first one ना, confuse हो जाएंगे अपन. ठीक है. So yes, banking company shall have a managing agent or managed by one, shall keep any person in employment. A certain commission is paid to broker. ना जी, ये अकेला नहीं होगा. Or any other person employed by bank under a contract who is not a regular member of the company's staff. ठीक है, shall be managed by a person who is director of any other company and division of the banking company, and shall be engaged in any other business. Okay, so these are the things which cannot be done, right? Let me say it again. Employment of managing agent is prohibited as per section 10, and certain type of employment are restricted. So banking company shall not do these things. ठीक है जी, इतना समझ में आ गया? Yes, the Reserve Bank may consider among the other things, the following things can be considered by RBI, okay, and they are: the fee is paid to broker or other person hired by a bank under a contract who is not a regular member of company staff. Let me go back. पहले तो उन्होंने कहा they cannot do this, ठीक है, so don't get confused. First of all, what are they saying? A company, as per section 10, a company, a banking company shall not, कौन सा वाला पार्ट, ये वाला पार्ट, ठीक है, shall not, let me say it again, ठीक है, ये वाला पार्ट, a certain commission is to be paid to a broker or any other person employed by bank under a contract who is not a regular member of company staff. Okay, so here what are they saying? The Reserve Bank of India. Earlier we were talking about the banking company, okay? Here the Reserve Bank of India may consider this thing, that here the fee is paid to a broker or any other person hired by a bank, okay, on a contract basis, okay, who is not a regular employee, who is not a staff of that banking company, okay? If any person is being employed on a contract basis by the bank, in that case a fee or brokerage is to be paid to him, okay, that can be paid to him, okay, na, clear na ji? The count of its branches or offices, the ability, age and experience of the person are to be considered, the remuneration paid to other person employed by the banking company and the interest of the depositors. Okay, so the Reserve Bank of India may consider these following things, okay, but bank cannot consider, okay ji, haan ji. So let's go for section 10B, which is of banking company to be managed by full-time chairman. Acha, you have to tell me. So they are talking about the full-time chairman. So is there going to be a part-time chairman or something else? I mean, they could be, right? So yes, they could be a full-time director or part-time director. So yes, let's read it in this section. Every banking company in existence on the commencement of Banking Regulation Act Amendment as per 1994, they are saying, which comes into existence thereafter shall have one of its director. So at least they should have one director, okay, and who may be appointed on full-time or part-time basis. ठीक है, तो सीधी बात है, they could be appointed as full-time director or part-time director. So this one director can be full-time director, right, and part-time director. ठीक है जी, इतना समझ में आ गया ना? हाँ जी. As chairman of its board of director, okay, so yes, they could be appointed as chairman of its board of director. इतनी भी बात समझ में आ गई, ठीक है. And where he is appointed on full-time director as a chairman of its board of director, he shall be entrusted with the management of whole of affair of the banking company. What if the person, ठीक है, any of them, if the person, the director, full-time director or part-time director, they could be appointed as chairman of the company, banking company. इतनी तो बात समझ में आ गई मुझे, ठीक है जी. So if they are talking, if the person is full-time director, ठीक है, chairman is a full-time director, in that case, that full-time director, the chairman, what he have to do, ठीक है, the chairman of the director shall entrust with the management of whole of affair of the banking of company. What means? Simple है. What does the full-time director do? He is engaged in business, day-to-day transaction of business, right? He is giving his full time, right? He is a full-time director. तो सीधी बात है, he is fully engaged in business of banking, ठीक है. So definitely they are saying the same thing, ठीक है. Once the person is full-time director and he is appointed as a chairman, ठीक है, then he have to entrust with the management of the whole of the affair of the banking company, है ना, ठीक है ना, ठीक है. So second point says, provided that the chairman shall exercise his power subject to the superintendent's control and direction of the board of director which chairman. Second, ठीक है, पहले तो फुल टाइम डायरेक्टर वाला बात हो गया, ठीक है. सेकंड से इज द पार्ट टाइम डायरेक्टर विद द चेयरमैन इज अपॉइंटेड ऑन पार्ट टाइम बेसिस. मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वोल अफेयर शैल बी इंटरेस्टेड टू वूम, टू MD, ठीक है, टू वूम, टू मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर. बोर्ड टू बी अपॉइंटेड बाय RBI अप्रूवल. लेट मी रीड इट अगेन. पहली बात इज वेरी क्लियर, ठीक है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर, द डायरेक्टर कैन बी पार्ट टाइम director, full-time director, and that is going to be appointed as chairman. We know chairman can be full-time director, part-time director. ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में. Of कौन सा banking company? I'm talking about banking company. ठीक है. What if the person, the chairman is appointed as full-time director? ठीक है. Then he have to give his fully divisional to the banking transaction, day-to-day transaction to the banking ट्रांजेक्शन. ठीक है, जो भी है बैंकिंग डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज ऑफ द कंपनी. ठीक है, डे टू डे एक्टिविटी ऑफ बैंकिंग कंपनी. बट व्हाट इफ ही इज अ पार्ट टाइम डायरेक्टर? द चेयरमैन इज अ पार्ट टाइम डायरेक्टर. इन दैट केस, ठीक है, वेयर चेयरमैन इज अपॉइंटेड ऑन पार्ट टाइम बेसिस, मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वोल अफेयर्स शैल बी इंटरेस्टेड टू whom? To not that part-time director, to not that chairperson. ठीक है, in that case the management is to be entrusted to whom? To MD. Okay, and the part-time director and this MD is to be appointed by whom? The RBI. Okay, the RBI. ठीक है, सीधी सीधी बात है. Where if the chairperson is appointed as full-time director, he is full-time director and he is a chairperson. In that case, he is entrusted with the management. Okay, to the role of affair of the company, a banking company. सीधी बात. But what if he is part-time director? Then again, the MD is going to look after the things, and these two people are to be appointed by RBI. जी हाँ जी. And such approval shall be for 5-year tenure. ठीक है जी, इतनी बात तो समझ में आ गई मुझे. Okay, let's go for the other part, section 10 BB. ठीक है, the power of Reserve Bank to appoint chairman of board of director appointed on full-time basis of managing director of banking company. ठीक है, earlier we were talking about 10B where the full-time director, part-time director can be chairman. ठीक है, right now we have added one more thing, MD was with part-time director वाला part. ठीक है, so yes, where the office of the chairman of board of director appointed on full-time basis or managing director of banking company is vacant. Okay, let me say it again, the chairman of the board of director was appointed on full-time basis. ठीक है, or a managing director. ठीक है, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर सेकेंड वाला केस. ठीक है, इज वेकेट. द RBI may, if it is of opinion that the continuation of such vacancy is likely to adversely affect the interest of banking company, appoint a person eligible to be so appointed. Then in that case, what is going to be? The vacancy is going to be filled by RBI. ठीक है जी हाँ. And yes, likely to affect the interest of the banking company, appoint a person eligible to be so appointed to be a chairman of the board of director appointed on full-time basis or managing director of the banking company. इतनी तो बात समझ में आ गई. ठीक है जी. And where the person so appointed is not director of such company, he shall so long as he hold the office of chairman of the board of director appointed on full-time basis or managing director be deemed to be director of the banking company. Okay, so same thing. What if the person is the further vacancy arises and the person appointed is not director? In that case, that person is going to be assumed that he is going to be director of that banking company. Okay, he is going to be deemed to be director of banking company. And again, the tenure, the chairman of the board of directors of banking company shall hold office of 5 years. Okay, so yes, hope so this was also clear to you. Okay, so yes, let's go for ye wala part. I'll talk about this part later. ठीक है. Okay, so let's go for this वाला part. ठीक है, the board of director to include person with professional and other experience. What happens? They are talking about board of director. Now we know what is meaning of board of director. ठीक है, in every company, not less than 51% of total number of board of directors shall have specialized knowledge and practical experience. We know this part. ठीक है, which is related to accounting, agriculture, banking, finance, law, economy and industry. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना. This is what written here. ठीक है, so every company to ensure not less than 51% of total number of board of director shall consist of a person who shall have a specialized knowledge or practical experience in accountancy, agriculture, rural economy, banking, cooperative finance, law, small scale industry or any other field which is in opinion of Reserve Bank of India would be useful for the banking company. इतनी बात easy है. Of these there shall be minimum two कितना minimum 2% shall have with shall have, I mean they should have the special knowledge, ठीक है, the special knowledge or experience related to agriculture and rural economy, cooperation and small sector industry. Okay, so at least 2% should have the knowledge which is related to agriculture, rural economy, ठीक है, cooperation and small industry. Okay, they may be connected with small industrial concern firm. The intention behind this provision is that the board should be perfectly balanced with specialized drawn from the various stream, should form part of the board and can provide a broad spectrum of the experience. The directors of the banking company and the other chairman, full-time director, shall hold office for कितना time period? For 8. ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. Director shall not face any conflict of interest in which is related to any connection with parties. RBI may order for the reconstitution of board of any bank. Removal of any director is appealable to the central government. ठीक है, which we have already read in कौन सा वाला part? वो रिजर्व बैंक वाला पार्ट है ना. Yes, okay. And it shall be fill up the vacancies. If any may bank omit own, there shall be not be may common directors in the bank. Okay, तो simple बात है. There should be board of directors, at least 51% of them should be literate, right? They should have specification which is related to, they should be knowledgeable and experienced and having the practical experience related to these field, and from them at least 2 shall have the knowledge which is related to the agriculture, rural economy, cooperative and small scale industry, cooperation and small scale industries. ठीक है, and what was the tenure? 8 years. ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. Okay, so let's go for the reserve fund and the cash reserve. So every banking company, ठीक है जी, every banking company must create a reserve fund out of earning. So yes, this is to be created out of earning, but after interest and tax. Okay, so it should be created after this effect, the interest and tax effect. ठीक है, okay. So such reserve amount shall be at least 20% of such profit. Okay, exemption can be given by the central government if aggregate of amount of reserve fund and securities premium is greater than paid up capital of the company. So there was a question, ठीक है, which is in scanner, whether the company can go for minimum or maximum prescribed reserve fund. Okay, and what is that exemptions and all. ठीक है, so yes, there is an exception that is saying it can be given by CG only if the aggregate amount of the reserve fund and the security premium is greater than the, let me write it here now, the aggregate amount of reserve plus security premium, ठीक है, which is to be greater than the paid up capital of the company, of the banking company. ठीक है, in that case this can be allowed. ठीक है, exception है. ठीक है जी, okay. And what about the cash reserve? ठीक है, as per section 8 in this says at least कितना परसेंट? 3%. MCQ question है भैया. ठीक है, ये भी MCQ question है. ठीक है, हाँ जी. So at least 3% of the total demand and the time liability should be kept as cash reserve or should be secured in the current account with the RBI. Okay, liabilities won't include in money received from the RBI, Development Bank, Exim Bank or any other such bank. ठीक है, such amount should be kept deposit on the last Friday of every second fortnight of every month. So basically can I say 3%. ठीक है, this is what I have to keep in my mind, and the return should be submitted before 20th day of next month starting particular. It is to be deposit to RBI. तो इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना. So let me take 2 or 3 more minutes of yours. ठीक है, so yes, right now I'm not going in depth, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, with this section, the minimum paid up capital and reserve which is to be maintained by every banking regulation act. ठीक है, every banking company. So yes, let me go for this chart first. ठीक है, then we'll cover in the next lecture. ठीक है, okay. So let me give an idea what is this meaning of minimum capital and reserve, that every banking company have to maintain this. Okay, but there are some cases. Okay, so first case says ki if in case of banking company is incorporated outside India, okay, but not having a place of business in city of Kolkata or Mumbai, ठीक है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द बैंकिंग कंपनीज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड कहाँ, बाहर है भैया, यहाँ नहीं है. इट इज़ इनकॉर्पोरेटेड आउटसाइड इंडिया, ओके, एंड दे आर नॉट हैविंग एनी प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन कोलकाता और दी मुंबई. मुंबई मेरी जान, ठीक है. हाँ जी. सो द सम ऑफ इट्स पेड अप कैपिटल एंड रिजर्व शुड बी, okay, it should not be less than 15 lakh, which means they should maintain the reserve, the paid up share capital, the paid up share capital plus reserve of kitna, at least 15 lakh. It should not be less than 15 lakh, okay. And it if first पहली बात, इधर आओ, जल्दी आओ, जल्दी, कंफ्यूज नहीं होना, ठीक है, जल्दी आओ. If the company is incorporated outside India and they are not having any place of business in India, मतलब in India specifically there are two states, ठीक है, कलकत्ता, मुंबई मेरी जान, कलकत्ता मेरी जान, मुंबई मेरी जान, ठीक है. In that case the paid up share capital plus reserve is to be maintained कितना, at least 15 लाख जी. 15 लाख से नीचे नहीं जाना जी, ओके जी. हाँ जी. बट व्हाट इफ दे आर हैविंग अ प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन मुंबई मेरी जान एंड कलकत्ता मेरी जान, ठीक है. इन दैट केस, इन और इन बोथ, इन दैट केस दे शुड मेंटेन एट लीस्ट 20 लाख paid up share capital and reserve, ठीक है. सो कैन आई से इफ द बैंकिंग कंपनी, ठीक है, इनकॉर्पोरेटेड, शॉर्ट में लिख रहे हैं, ठीक है, ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेना ना मुझे, आउटसाइड इंडिया, ठीक है, आउटसाइड इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं, बहुत जल्दी जल्दी लिख रहे हैं तो हैंड राइटिंग बहुत ख़राब जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है. सो इन दैट केस 15 लाख, ओके. एंड व्हाट इफ दे आर नॉट हैविंग एनी प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन कौन सा, मुंबई मेरी जान, कलकत्ता मेरी जान, दोनों मेरी जान, ठीक है जी. एंड इफ दे आर हैविंग दिस द प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन मुंबई मेरी जान, कलकत्ता मेरी जान, देन 20 लाख, ठीक है जी. द पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल प्लस रिजर्व की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. लेट्स गो फॉर द सेकंड पॉइंट. इन केस बैंकिंग कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन इंडिया, पहले तो बोला इन्होंने इट्स incorporated outside India. Now they are saying if it is incorporated in the India, the sum of paid up capital and reserve shall not be less than, first point again, second part, first part outside India, now inside India, ठीक है. if it's incorporated in India, if it has place of business in more than one state, if it has place of business in more than one state, in that case 5 lakh, and if such place of business is Mumbai, Kolkata, in that case 10 lakh, ठीक है. Now if they are saying if they have been incorporated in India and if they are having the place of business, POB, place of business, ठीक है, is more than one state, in that case कितना rupees, the paid up share capital and reserve should be of at least 5 lakh, okay. And if such place of business is Mumbai मेरी जान and कलकत्ता मेरी जान, in that case 10 lakh rupees, ठीक है. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना, हौच पौच नहीं होना, जल्दी दोबारा आओ. इन केस ऑफ सेकेंड पार्ट द प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन इंडिया, ओके. सो व्हाट शुड बी द place of business is in India, ठीक है, incorporated in India. And what if the place of business is more than in one state, 5 लाख, ठीक है. And if the place of business is in मुंबई मेरी जान, कलकत्ता मेरी जान, इन दैट केस कितना 10 लाख जनाब, ठीक है. इतनी बात क्लियर है ना, हाँ जी. लेट्स गो फॉर द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. इफ इट हैज़ ऑल इट्स प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन वन स्टेट अदर देन मुंबई और कोलकाता, इन दैट केस ₹1 लाख, ठीक है. ऑल ऑफ इट्स प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इज इन वन स्टेट, ठीक है, बट अदर देन मुंबई और कलकत्ता मेरी जान, ठीक है. इन दैट केस व्हाट इज गोइंग टू द paid up share capital and reserve amount is going to be 1 lakh, ठीक है. और in case of its place of business plus ₹10,000 for each additional place of business. What if they are having additional place of business apart from these state, the Mumbai and Kolkata, in that case they'll have to keep this 10,000 additional amount, okay. So yes, up to this, hope so this is clear. Let me quick, okay. First of all, if the business is incorporated outside India, पहली बात, ठीक है. So the paid up share capital and the reserve is to be maintained कितना, minimum 15 लाख जनाब, ठीक है. And what if they are having that place of business in Mumbai and Kolkata, ठीक है, मुंबई एंड कलकत्ता मेरी जान, ठीक है. इन दैट केस 20 लाख, सीधी बात है, ओके. सेकेंड केस अबाउट इफ इट इज द बैंकिंग कंपनी इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन इंडिया, इन दैट केस अगेन टू पार्ट, ठीक है. इफ इट हैज़ प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन मोर देन वन स्टेट, इन दैट केस 5 लाख, ठीक है. और इफ सच प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इज मुंबई एंड कोलकाता, तो देखो कि कितना इंपॉर्टेंस दिया जा रहा है मुंबई और कोलकाता को, ठीक है. सो येस, If they are having that place of business in Mumbai, in Kolkata, then in that case 10 lakh is going to be paid up share capital and reserve is to be maintained. ठीक है जी. And if second वाला part का second case, ठीक है, if it has all place of business in one state other than Mumbai and Kolkata, in that case what is going to be that minimum amount? 1 lakh. For additional state it's going to be 10,000. इतनी बात clear है ना? ठीक है. So yes, this was a quick chart. ठीक है. Now we are going to start the next lecture from this point. Okay. So yes, that's it guys. I'm not going to take your more time. ठीक है. Do your revision. Hope you're doing your revision. ठीक है. Don't wait for your result. Those who have given the June attempt, don't wait for your result guys. Do the revision. कोई बात नहीं. Don't expect that those who have given the exam is all of them are going to pass. ठीक है. Institute have to maintain some of the passing criteria. Okay, so yes, they cannot allow each and every student to get pass. ठीक है. कड़वा सच है जनाब, देखो सच है, सॉरी टू से. तो yes, be prepared and we have to do the revision. ठीक है. तो एकदम से झटका लगने से बढ़िया है धीरे धीरे पढ़ते रहो, इतना बुरा झटका नहीं लगेगा. ठीक है. तो बस that's it. तो ये consistent regular revision, go for the, you know, if you don't want to do a revision, like, you know, you don't want to give a long time, right, you can do some more other things which you really want to do from long time, like writing or doing photography, videography, or you want to do some, you have some hobbies, you can definitely go for it. But I'll simply say give time for your studies also. ठीक है. Because this is really important. What if the result is not in your favor? What is going to happen? Definitely you have to start your revision again, start your studies again. ठीक है. So better है ना, थोड़ा थोड़ा पढ़ लो, क्या दिक्कत है, कुछ नहीं जाएगा. ठीक है. So yes, that's it. Hope so you doing your revision. नहीं तो भैया करो और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. And we'll meet in our next session, next lecture. तब तक के लिए गुड नाइट. खुश रहो, मस्त रहो, पढ़ते रहो, जिंदा रहो. ठीक है. और that's